first gunshot shattered the crystal chandelier above table 7. Amina Carter didn't scream. She didn't duck. She counted. 5 men, 3 with pistols, 2 with knives, all moving toward the corner booth where the man in the black suit sat alone, cutting into his steak with surgical precision. Glass rained down like diamonds. Women shrieked. Men dove under tables. The restaurant transformed from luxury to chaos in 3 heartbeats. Amina's tray hit the floor. Her body moved before her mind caught up. 27 years of living had taught her many things, but the last 4 years of waiting tables in Seoul had taught her the most important lesson of all: stay invisible. Blend in. Survive. But survival has a price. And tonight, that price was watching an execution. The first attacker reached the booth, gun raised. The man in the black suit looked up slowly, his dark eyes empty of fear. He didn't move, didn't flinch. He simply watched his own death approach with the calm of someone who'd been expecting it. Amina's hand found the steak knife on the fallen tray. She moved. 1 second she was a waitress. The next, she was something else entirely. Something she'd buried 4 years ago in a shallow grave, along with her real name, her real life, and the bodies of everyone she'd ever trusted. The first attacker's gun hand twisted backward with a crack that echoed through the screaming. His weapon clattered across marble tile. Amina's elbow found his throat. He dropped like a puppet with cut strings. The second man turned. Too slow. She was already inside his guard, the steak knife flashing silver in the low light. Not to kill, just to stop. The blade found the nerve cluster in his shoulder. He howled and collapsed. 3 seconds, 2 down. The third attacker fired wild. The bullet punched through a wine bottle 3 feet from her head. Amina rolled, came up under his arm, drove her palm into his elbow. The joint bent wrong. He screamed. She didn't. She never screamed anymore. The fourth man had a knife, and he knew how to use it. He came at her low and fast, the blade singing through the air where her ribs had been a moment before. She caught his wrist mid-thrust, redirected the momentum, and used his own weight to slam him face first into the edge of a table. 8 seconds. 4 down. The fifth man froze. His gun was pointed at her chest, his finger tight on the trigger, his eyes wide with the sudden understanding that he'd walked into the wrong restaurant on the wrong night. "Drop it," Amina said quietly. Her voice didn't shake. It never shook anymore. He didn't drop it. He turned the gun toward the man in the black suit instead. Amina moved. The steak knife left her hand in a silver blur. It buried itself in the gunman's forearm. He screamed. The gun fell. She was already there, sweeping his legs, driving him down onto the broken glass with enough force to make sure he stayed down. 12 seconds. 5 down. Silence crashed over the restaurant like a wave. No more screaming. No more gunfire. Just the sound of breaking glass settling and someone sobbing quietly in a corner. Amina stood in the center of the carnage, breathing steady, her waitress uniform torn at the shoulder, a thin line of blood across her cheek from a shard of glass she hadn't felt cut her. And then, she felt it, the weight of his stare. The man in the black suit was standing now, tall and still, his dark eyes fixed on her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. He wasn't looking at her like she'd saved his life. He was looking at her like she was a puzzle he intended to solve. Han Jae-sung. She knew his name. Everyone in Seoul knew his name, even if they pretended not to. The Reaper of Gangnam. The man who controlled half the city's underworld with nothing but whispered threats and surgical violence. 35 years old and already a legend. Already a ghost. "Who are you?" His voice was soft. Dangerous. The kind of soft that came before screaming. Amina didn't answer. She turned, stepped over an unconscious body, and walked toward the kitchen exit. Her hands were shaking now. Not from fear, from muscle memory. From the part of her that remembered what it felt like to be good at killing. Stop. She didn't stop. I said stop. His hand caught her wrist. Not rough. Not gentle. Just firm enough to make his point. She could break the grip. She'd broken stronger grips from stronger men. But something in his touch made her freeze. She turned slowly. Before we dive in, go ahead and like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for our new story drops daily. You won't want to miss any of our videos. Trust to me. Up close, Han Jae-sung was beautiful in the way a blade was beautiful. Sharp lines, cold eyes, a face that had never learned how to smile without meaning threat. He studied her like a jeweler studying a diamond he suspected was fake. You move like military, he said, but better. Who trained you? I'm a waitress. Waitresses don't disarm 5 armed men in 12 seconds. So he'd been counting too. Let me go, Amina said quietly. You're alive. I'm leaving. That's the end of the story. No. His thumb pressed against her pulse point, feeling her heartbeat. Too steady, too calm. That's the beginning. Sirens wailed in the distance. The police were coming. Jae-sung's men were already moving through the restaurant, clearing witnesses, collecting weapons, erasing evidence. One of them approached, a sharp-faced man with a scar across his jaw. Boss, we need to move. They'll be here in 3 minutes. Jae-sung didn't look away from Amina. Take her with us. No, Amina said. It wasn't a request. She could fight. She could run. She could disappear into the Seoul night the way she'd disappeared 1,000 times before. But his men were everywhere now, closing in like wolves, sensing wounded prey. And she was tired. God, she was so tired of running. If I go with you, she said, meeting his eyes, I'm walking out the same way I walked in. Alive. Untouched. Understood? Something flickered in his expression. Not quite a smile. Not quite respect. Something in between. Understood. He released her wrist and gestured toward the back exit. After you. Amina walked. She felt his presence behind her like heat, burning through her torn uniform, raising goosebumps on her skin despite the warm Seoul night. The kitchen was chaos. Cooks and dishwashers huddled in corners, eyes wide, mouths shut. They knew better than to see anything. A black Bentley waited in the alley, engine purring. The door opened. She hesitated. I could make my men force you, Jae-sung said from behind her. But I prefer willing passengers. I'm not willing, I'm calculating. Then calculate faster. The police are 2 minutes out. Amina slid into the Bentley. Leather seats, tinted windows, the smell of expensive cologne and older blood. Jae-sung followed, settling across from her with the casual grace of a man who'd never been afraid of anything in his life. The door closed. The car moved. Seoul's neon lights blurred past the windows, turning the city into a river of color. Your name, Jae-sung said. Amina. Your real name. She smiled without humor. That is my real name. Today. His eyes narrowed. You have multiple names? Don't we all? The scarred man driving glanced at them in the rearview mirror. Boss, where am I taking her? Jae-sung leaned back, studying Amina like she was a painting he couldn't quite interpret. The penthouse. I want to know everything about our mysterious waitress. I'm not mysterious, Amina said. I'm convenient. I was there. I reacted. That's all. No one reacts like that. Some of us do. Who trained you? A ghost. Don't play games with me. Amina leaned forward, her dark eyes meeting his without flinching. I'm not playing. I'm surviving. There's a difference. The car fell silent except for the hum of tires on asphalt. They drove through Gangnam's glittering heart, past nightclubs and luxury stores and restaurants where people paid more for a meal than Amina earned in a month. She'd walked these streets 1,000 times, invisible in her waitress uniform, just another foreign face in a city that pretended to welcome everyone but really only welcomed money. "You're American," Jae-sung said. It wasn't a question. I was. "You don't have an accent." "I have several. I use whichever one keeps me alive longest." He almost smiled. Almost. "You're interesting, Amina, who is sometimes Amina." "You're alive." I'd think that would be interesting enough. 5 men came to kill me tonight. They knew where I'd be, what time, which table. Someone told them. "So you have a traitor?" "Yes." "And you think I'm connected?" His silence was answer enough. Amina laughed, sharp and bitter. "If I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. I wouldn't have stopped them. I would have walked away and let them finish what they started." "Then why didn't you?" The question hung in the air between them like smoke. Why hadn't she? She'd spent 4 years perfecting the art of not caring, not seeing, not intervening. 4 years of letting the world burn while she served wine and smiled at customers and pretended she was someone else. "I don't know," she said finally. "Honestly?" The Bentley pulled into an underground garage beneath a building that stretched toward the sky like a glass knife. The scarred man opened the door. Jae-sung stepped out first, then offered his hand. Amina ignored it and climbed out herself. The elevator ride was silent. 57 floors. She counted every one, watching the numbers climb, calculating escape routes that didn't exist. When the doors opened, she stepped into a penthouse that looked like it had been decorated by someone who valued power over comfort. Black leather, chrome, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's burning heart. Art on the walls that cost more than most people earned in a lifetime. "Sit," Jae-sung said, gesturing to a chair. "I prefer to stand." "Sit. Or my men will make you sit." Amina sat. Not because he threatened her. Because she was calculating, just like she'd said. And calculations required patience. Jae-sung poured 2 glasses of whiskey. He offered her one. She took it but didn't drink. He noticed. "You don't trust me." "Would you trust you?" Amina countered. He sat across from her, the whiskey glass balanced perfectly in his hand. "You're right not to trust me. I don't trust anyone. But tonight, you saved my life. That buys you answers to 3 questions before I start asking my own." Amina studied him. Han Jae-sung, the Reaper of Gangnam, Seoul's most feared Mafia boss. The man who controlled everything from smuggling routes to politicians, who could end lives with a phone call, who had built an empire on blood and silence. And here she was, sitting in his penthouse, drinking his whiskey, pretending she was just a waitress who got lucky. "Why 3 questions?" she asked. "Because 3 is fair. 4 is generous. And I'm never generous." "Then here's my first question. Are you going to kill me?" "That depends on your other 2 questions." Amina set down the untouched whiskey. "Who were those men?" "Hired guns, professionals. Someone paid them a lot of money to make sure I didn't finish my steak." He sipped his drink, eyes never leaving hers. "Someone who knows my schedule, my habits, my favorite table. Inside job. Obviously. And you think I'm part of it. You appeared at exactly the right moment with exactly the right skills. Coincidence makes me suspicious." Amina leaned back. "If I were part of it, I would have let them succeed. Or I would have finished the job myself. 5 bodies is easier to explain than 6, but I'm capable of either." Something shifted in his expression. Interest, dark and hungry. "You talk about killing like most people talk about the weather. Some of us have different weather." "Last question," Jae-sung said. Amina chose her words carefully. "When can I leave?" "Wrong question. It's my question." Then here's my answer. When I know you're not a threat. When I understand who you are. When I decide whether you're worth keeping alive. He set down his glass with a soft click. Now it's my turn. Question 1. Who trained you? The kind of people who don't exist on paper. CIA? Military? Private contractor? Does it matter? Yes. Amina met his gaze. All three. In that order. And then, none of them. Because you disappeared. Because they disappeared me first. Jae-sung stood, moving to the window. Seoul glittered below like a circuit board, each light a life he could snuff out if he chose. 4 years ago, a Black Ops team hit a target in Busan. Weapons deal gone wrong. Everyone died except the money man, who vanished before the bodies cooled. The Americans blamed the Koreans blamed the Chinese, and someone very skilled erased every trace of what really happened. Amina's blood turned cold. He knew, or suspected, or was fishing. She couldn't tell which, and that scared her more than the gun she knew he carried. Sounds like a ghost story, she said carefully. I don't believe in ghosts, but I believe in survivors. He turned to face her. Question 2. Why Seoul? Big city, easy to disappear. Try again. Because no one looks for a black woman in Korea. I'm already invisible, already foreign, already assumed to be temporary. He nodded slowly. Smart. Question 3. He crossed the room, stopping close enough that she had to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. Who are you running from? Everyone. Narrow it down. The people who trained me, the people who betrayed me, the people who want to finish what they started 4 years ago. And what did they start? That's question 4. You said you're never generous. For the first time, Jae-sung smiled. It was a terrible smile, beautiful and cold, like watching ice form on a lake you knew would drown you. I like you, Amina, who is sometimes Amina. You're either the best liar I've ever met, or the most honest. I can't decide which. Both, she said, simultaneously. His phone buzzed. He checked it, frowned, typed something fast. My head of security just sent me the CCTV footage from the restaurant. 12 seconds. You took down 5 armed men in 12 seconds. The last man to move that fast in my presence is dead now. Should I be flattered or terrified? Yes. The scarred man from the car entered without knocking. Boss, the police are asking questions. Restaurant owner is handling it, but they'll want statements from everyone who was there. Amina Carter doesn't exist anymore, Jae-sung said without looking away from her. As of tonight, she died in the chaos, trampled, tragic. Body released to family overseas. He paused. Unless she wants to exist, in which case she works for me. I don't work for anyone, Amina said. Everyone works for someone. The only question is whether you choose your employer or they choose you. That's not a choice. That's extortion. Welcome to my world. Amina stood. The scarred man's hand moved toward his weapon. She ignored him, focused only on Jae-sung. I saved your life. That should buy me a clean exit, not a leash. In my world, debts don't cancel. They accumulate. He stepped closer. They were inches apart now, close enough that she could smell the whiskey on his breath, see the faint scar along his jawline that makeup probably covered during the day. You have skills I need. Someone betrayed me tonight. Someone inside my organization put a target on my back. And you, mysterious waitress, have a gift for seeing what others miss. I'm not a detective. No. You're something better. You're a weapon that thinks. The words hit harder than they should have, because he was right. That's exactly what she'd been. What she'd been trained to be. A weapon with a brain and a conscience she'd learned to silence until the mission was complete. And if I refuse, she asked, then you walk out of here, and within 24 hours, someone finds you. Maybe it's the people you're running from. Maybe it's one of my competitors who heard about the mysterious woman who moves like death. Or maybe, he said softly, it's me, coming to finish a conversation you tried to walk away from. You'd kill me for saying no? I'd kill you for being a loose end, but I'd prefer not to. You interest me. I'm not interested in being interesting. Too late. Amina's mind raced through scenarios. Run now. Get hunted. Accept his offer. Get trapped. Refuse and die. The mathematics of survival had never been clean, but tonight they were impossible. What exactly would this job entail? She asked. Victory flashed in his eyes. Find the traitor. Identify who ordered tonight's attack, and in the process, teach my men how to move the way you move. Most of them are loyal. Most of them are competent. But none of them are exceptional. And after I find your traitor? Then we renegotiate. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting tonight. The scarred man cleared his throat. Boss, we need to move her to a secure location. If anyone saw her face. No one saw her face, Jae-sung interrupted. They were too busy not dying. He looked at Amina. Do we have an agreement? She thought of the alternative. Running again. New city. New name. New uniform. New years of pretending she wasn't someone who could kill 5 men in 12 seconds without breaking a sweat. The exhaustion of it made her bones ache. Temporary agreement, she said. I find your traitor. You let me go. No strings, no debts, no accidents. Agreed, he offered his hand. She stared at it like it might burn her. In my world, Jae-sung said quietly, a handshake is binding. Break it, and you die. Honor it, and I'll honor mine. Amina took his hand. His grip was firm, warm, alive. For a moment, something passed between them. Recognition, maybe, or warning. Two people who knew how to kill looking at each other and choosing, for now, not to. One more thing, she said. I sleep alone. I eat alone. I work alone unless absolutely necessary. And no one, not you, not your men, not anyone, asks about my past. The woman I was died a long time ago. This is the woman who's left. Fair enough. He released her hand. Min-jun will show you to your room. We start tomorrow. 8 a.m. Don't be late. I'm never late. Good. I hate waiting. Min-jun, the scarred man, gestured toward a hallway. Amina followed, aware of Jae-sung's eyes on her back, burning through her torn uniform like X-rays searching for hidden weapons. The room was minimalist. Bed. Bathroom. Window that didn't open. Prison disguised as luxury. Door locks from the inside, Min-jun said, but boss has the override code, just so you know. Noted. He's not a bad man. Just a careful one. In his line of work? Is there a difference? Min-jun almost smiled. You'll fit in fine here. He left. The lock clicked. Amina waited 30 seconds, then checked every corner, every shadow, every place a camera might hide. Nothing obvious, but that didn't mean they weren't watching. She sat on the bed, still in her torn uniform, still carrying the smell of violence and broken glass. Her hands were steady now. Too steady. The shaking would come later, in the dark, when her body finally processed what her mind had pushed aside. 4 years. 4 years of hiding. And in 12 seconds, she'd blown her cover for a man she didn't know, shouldn't trust, and definitely shouldn't have saved. Her old handler's voice echoed in her memory. The moment you break cover, you're dead. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon. And the only question is whether you see it coming. Amina hadn't seen tonight coming, but she'd survived it, and survival, she'd learned, was the only victory that mattered. Amina didn't sleep. She lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the seconds between her heartbeats. Old habit. When you couldn't trust the world around you, you learned to trust the rhythms inside you. Heartbeat, breath, the flex of muscles ready to explode into violence at the first wrong sound. At 3 a.m., her door clicked open. She was on her feet before the handle turned, a lamp base in her hand, weight balanced on the balls of her feet. The door swung wide. Min-jun stood there, phone glowing in his hand. "Boss wants you. Now. It's 3 in the morning. He doesn't sleep much. You'll get used to it." Amina set down the lamp. "What does he want?" "Didn't say. Just said bring the waitress to the war room." War room. Of course a mafia boss had a war room. She followed Min-jun through the penthouse's dark corridors. They passed rooms she hadn't seen before. A library, a gym, a door that was reinforced steel with a biometric lock. Whatever was behind that door, it wasn't for guests. The war room was exactly what she expected. Long table, multiple screens showing security feeds from locations across Seoul. Maps on the walls marked with pins and circles, a whiteboard covered in Korean characters she couldn't read and numbers she could. Jae-sung stood at the head of the table, still in his black suit, looking like he'd never left. 4 men sat around the table. Hard faces, harder eyes. The kind of men who measured their worth in scars and silence. "Gentlemen," Jae-sung said as Amina entered, "this is our new security consultant." One of them laughed. He was built like a bulldozer, neck thick with muscle, knuckles scarred from years of breaking faces. "The waitress? You're joking." "Do I look like I'm joking, Dae-jung?" The laughter died. Jae-sung gestured to an empty chair. "Sit, we have a problem." Amina sat. All eyes turned to her, measuring, judging, dismissing. She'd felt that look before, in briefing rooms on 3 continents. Men who thought a woman with a gun was playing dress-up. Men who learned too late that underestimating someone was the last mistake they'd ever make. 2 hours ago, Jae-sung said, one of my warehouses burned. Everything inside. Gone. 30 million one up in smoke. Accident? Amina asked. Gasoline? Timer? Someone who knew the guard rotation. He tapped a screen. Security footage appeared. A figure in black, face covered, moved through the warehouse like a shadow, poured accelerant, set the charge, gone in 90 seconds. Professional, Amina said. Very? Same people who hit the restaurant? Different crew, same employer. Jae-sung's jaw tightened. Someone is declaring war. They hit me personally. Now they hit my money. Next will be my people. The bulldozer, Dae-jung, leaned forward. With respect, boss, what can a waitress do that we can't? She can see what you miss, Jae-sung said simply. I see plenty. Really? Then tell me who the traitor is. Silence crashed over the room. Jae-sung's eyes moved around the table. One of my inner circle is feeding information to my enemies. Restaurant attack. Warehouse fire. These weren't lucky guesses. Someone told them where to hit and when. He looked at Amina. You have 30 seconds. Tell me what you see. Amina studied the men. Dae-jung, the bulldozer, couldn't hide his contempt for her. His body language screamed loyalty to Jae-sung, but also pride. Too much pride. Next to him, a thin man with wire-frame glasses and accountant hands. Nervous. Kept glancing at the door. Across the table, a scar-faced killer who looked bored by the entire conversation. And at the end, a younger man, maybe 25, with expensive clothes and restless hands. It's not in this room, Amina said. Jae-sung's eyebrow lifted. Explain. Your traitor is smart. Smart enough not to sit at a table where you're discussing traitors. Everyone here knows you're looking. Anyone here who was guilty would have disappeared already or be sweating through their shirt. She paused. But you already know that. This meeting isn't about finding the traitor. It's about sending a message. What message? That you've brought in outside help. That you don't trust your usual channels. You want your traitor to know they're being hunted by someone new, someone they can't predict. The room went silent. Then Jae-sung smiled. That terrible, beautiful smile. Told you she was good. Dae-jung's face darkened. She got lucky. Luck is what you call it when you don't understand skill. Jae-sung pulled up another screen. These are all my operations: shipping, gambling, protection, clubs, real estate. The traitor has access to my schedule and my operations, which means they're in my personal security or my financial team. How many people? Amina asked. 47. Too many to investigate individually. Which is why you're going to narrow the list. He slid a tablet across the table. Personnel files. Read them. Find patterns. Everyone has a weakness. Money. Family. Ambition. Pride. Find the weakness. Find the traitor. Amina took the tablet. And then I handle it. The words hung heavy. Handle it. In Jae-sung's world, that meant blood on concrete and a body that would never be found. One condition, Amina said. The room tensed. No one gave Jae-sung conditions. When I find them, you let me question them first, before you handle it. I want to know who hired them and why. Why do you care? Because if someone's declaring war on you, I need to know if they're also looking for me. Jae-sung considered this. Fair. You get 5 minutes with them. Then they're mine. Deal. He dismissed the room with a wave. The men filed out. Dae-jung last, his eyes promising violence. When the door closed, only Jae-sung and Amina remained. You made an enemy tonight, he said. I make enemies everywhere I go. It's a gift. Dae-jung has been with me 8 years. Loyal, brutal, useful. But not smart. No, not smart. Jae-sung poured himself water from a crystal pitcher. Which is why he's muscle, not strategy. You, on the other hand, think 3 moves ahead. I appreciate that. Don't appreciate me. Use me, then let me go. So eager to leave? So eager to survive? He studied her over the rim of his glass. You saved my life tonight. Most people would leverage that. Ask for money, protection, citizenship. You ask for nothing except freedom. Freedom is everything. Freedom is an illusion. We're all in cages. Some are just prettier than others. Amina stood. Is that your philosophy or your excuse? Both. He set down the glass. Go. Read the files. Get some sleep if you can. Tomorrow we start moving pieces on the board. She turned to leave. Amina. She stopped. Thank you. For tonight. At the restaurant. She didn't turn around. Don't thank me yet. You might regret keeping me alive. I doubt that. She walked out, feeling his eyes on her back again. That burning stare that seemed to see through skin and bone to the broken thing underneath. In her room, she opened the tablet. 47 files, 47 lives reduced to data points and photographs. She started reading. Security chief, too obvious. Financial officer, possible but unlikely. Personal assistant, access to everything. Her eyes caught on one file. Marcus Chen, security consultant, joined the organization 6 months ago. Former CIA, specialized in East Asian operations. Her blood went cold. Marcus, her old handler, the man who'd sent her team into Busan 4 years ago. The man who'd disappeared when everything went wrong. The man she'd assumed was dead. He was alive. He was here. He was working for Jae-sung. Amina's hands shook. She set down the tablet before she crushed it. Breathed. Counted. Forced her heart to slow. Her mind to clear. This was impossible. Marcus couldn't be here. He wouldn't risk exposure. Unless he was the traitor. Unless he'd positioned himself perfectly to destroy Jae-sung from the inside while hunting for the one person who knew what really happened in Busan. Her. A knock at the door made her flinch. She grabbed the lamp base again. Who is it? Minjun. Boss sent food. Said you probably haven't eaten. She opened the door. Minjun held a tray. Rice, soup, grilled meat that smelled like heaven. Her stomach betrayed her with a growl. He's thoughtful for a killer, Amina said, taking the tray. He's practical. Can't have you passing out from hunger. Minjun hesitated. Can I ask you something? You can ask. I might not answer. What you did tonight, at the restaurant. That's not normal training. That's not even special forces. That's something else. Amina met his eyes. You were military. Rock Army, Rangers, 10 years. Then you know some training stays classified even after you leave. Yeah. He nodded slowly. Yeah, I know. He started to leave, then stopped. Boss doesn't trust easy, but when he does, he's loyal to the end. Just thought you should know. Why are you telling me this? Because you saved his life. That makes you Pac. And Pac looks out for each other. He left before she could respond. Amina ate mechanically, tasting nothing. Her mind was racing. Marcus was here. The traitor could be Marcus. And if it was, he knew she was alive, knew she was in Seoul, knew she'd broken cover. The trap she'd walked into wasn't just about finding a traitor. It was about surviving the ghost of her past coming back to finish what he'd started 4 years ago. She pulled out her phone. Burner. Untraceable. One contact saved. Emergency only. She typed. Code black. Seoul. Compromised. The response came 30 seconds later. Abort. Disappear. Now. She deleted both messages, stared at the phone, thought about running. New city. New name. New life. The same exhausting cycle she'd been living for 4 years. Or she could stay. Find Marcus. Get answers. Finish what had been left unfinished in Busan. Amina crushed the phone under her heel. She wasn't running anymore. Outside her window, Seoul glittered like a jeweled snake. Somewhere in that sprawl of light and shadow, Marcus was planning his next move. And somewhere in this penthouse, Jae-sung was watching her on hidden cameras she couldn't find, calculating whether she was an asset or a threat. The mathematics of survival had never been clean. Tonight, they'd become impossible. But Amina had stopped believing in impossible the day she'd crawled out of Busan covered in her team's blood. Morning came with a knife edge of sunlight across her face. Amina woke instantly, fully alert, hand reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. Old habits. In her previous life, waking up slowly meant waking up dead. She checked her watch. 7:45, 15 minutes before Jae-sung's deadline. She showered fast, washing away the dried blood and glass dust from her skin. Someone had left clothes outside her door. Black tactical pants. Black shirt. Combat boots in exactly her size. Either Jae-sung had guessed perfectly, or he'd had someone measure her while she slept. The thought should have terrified her. Instead, it just made her tired. She dressed and stepped into the hallway. The penthouse was alive now. Men moving through corridors with purpose. Phones ringing. The controlled chaos of an organization that never stopped working, even when its boss slept. Minjun appeared like a ghost. Boss is in the gym. Said you should join him. I need coffee first. Kitchen stocked. Help yourself. But don't keep him waiting. The kitchen was industrial steel and black marble. Amina poured coffee thick enough to strip paint and drank it standing up, staring out the window at Seoul's morning traffic. From this height, the city looked peaceful. Orderly. You couldn't see the violence that pulsed through its veins like poison. The gym was 3 floors down. When she walked in, Jae-sung was destroying a heavy bag with methodical precision. No wasted movement. Every punch calculated. Every kick controlled. He wasn't exercising. He was practicing murder. He noticed her, but didn't stop. You're early. I don't trust people who are late. Good instinct. He hit the bag one more time, then stepped back. Sweat darkened his shirt. His knuckles were wrapped in tape, no blood showing. Did you read the files? All 47. And? I have 3 names. Possibles, not certainties. Tell me. Amina pulled out the tablet. Kim Soo-jin, your personal assistant. She has access to your schedule, your meetings, your movements. Perfect position to leak information. Soo-jin has been with me since I started. Her family is mine. I trust her completely. Everyone trusted Julius Caesar's friends until the knives came out. Jae-sung's eyes narrowed. Next name. Park Min-ho, financial officer. Controls money flow, knows which operations are profitable, which are vulnerable. If someone wanted to hit your income streams, he'd know exactly where to strike. Min-ho is cautious, conservative. He wouldn't risk his position for anything. Unless someone offered him something he couldn't refuse. A way out. A clean slate. Witness protection with enough money to live like a king. Keep going. Amina hesitated. This was the moment. Say Marcus's name and watch how Jae-sung reacted. Or hold it back and investigate alone. Marcus Chen. Something flickered across Jae-sung's face. Too fast to read. Why Marcus? He's new. 6 months. Former CIA with specialized knowledge of your operations. He knows how intelligence agencies work, how to hide information flow, how to create plausible deniability. Marcus came highly recommended. He's trained half my security team, improved our protocols, saved my life twice. Which makes him perfect. He's valuable enough that you trust him, competent enough that you need him, and positioned perfectly to destroy you from the inside. Jae-sung grabbed a towel, wiped his face slowly. You have proof? Not yet. Just pattern recognition. Pattern recognition isn't evidence. No, but it's where evidence starts. He walked to a bench, sat down, studied her with that unnerving intensity. You know him? It wasn't a question. Amina's pulse spiked. What makes you say that? The way you said his name, like it tasted bad in your mouth, like you have history. She could lie, should lie. But something about the way Jae-sung looked at her made lying feel pointless. He was too smart, too observant. He'd catch the deception eventually, and then she'd lose the only leverage she had. Truth. We worked together, a long time ago. Different operation, different life. And he disappeared when things went wrong. I assumed he was dead. Seeing his file last night was like seeing a ghost. Does he know you're here? If he's the traitor, he knows everything. Jae-sung stood, crossed to where she stood. He was close again. Too close. Invading her space in a way that felt deliberate, testing her. So this isn't just about finding my traitor. This is personal. Everything is personal. We just pretend it's not. I don't like complications. Then you hired the wrong consultant. For a moment they just stared at each other. The air felt electric, charged with something neither of them wanted to name. Then Jae-sung stepped back. Today, you meet Marcus. Watch him. Read him. See if your ghost is my problem. And if he is, then we kill him together. The words hung between them like a promise. Or a threat. Maybe both. One more thing, Jae-sung said. Dae-jung is organizing a collection run tonight. Protection money from the clubs in Itaewon. You're going with him. Why? Because I want my men to see what you can do. And I want you to see how my organization operates. You can't find a traitor if you don't understand the system. Dae-jung hates me? Yes. Which makes it more interesting. You're testing me. I'm testing everyone. That's how you survive in my world. A door opened. Marcus Chen walked in. Amina's breath stopped. 4 years. 4 years since she'd seen that face. Older now. Lines around the eyes. Gray threading through his dark hair. But unmistakably, Marcus. Same cold intelligence, same predators, grace. He moved like someone who'd killed so many times it had become muscle memory. His eyes swept the gym, landed on Jae-sung, then slid to Amina. Recognition flashed. Fast. Buried. But there. He knew. Boss? Marcus said smoothly. American accent, slight Korean inflection from years overseas. You wanted to see me? Marcus, meet our new security consultant, Amina Carter. Marcus extended his hand. Pleasure. Amina took it. His grip was firm, controlled. His palm was cold despite the warm gym. Likewise. Marcus, Jae-sung continued, Amina will be reviewing our protocols, looking for vulnerabilities. I want you to give her complete access to security operations. Of course. Marcus smiled. It was a professional smile. Empty. Always good to have fresh eyes. You can never be too careful. My thoughts exactly, Amina said. They released hands. The moment stretched. Jae-sung watched them both like a scientist observing a chemical reaction. Amina saved my life last night, Jae-sung said. 5 attackers. She dropped them all in 12 seconds. Marcus's eyebrow lifted. Impressive. What's your background? Private security. Bodyguard work mostly. Some military training. Which branch? Contractors don't usually specify. No, I suppose they don't. Marcus turned to Jae-sung. The warehouse fire. I've reviewed the security footage. Professional arson. No fingerprints. No witnesses. Whoever hired them knew exactly when our guards changed shifts. Inside information, Jae-sung said. Without question. So we have a leak. We have a traitor, Marcus corrected. A leak is passive. This is active sabotage. Amina watched him carefully, every word, every gesture, looking for the tells she'd been trained to spot. But Marcus was good. Better than good. If he was lying, he'd buried it so deep even she couldn't see it. I want both of you working together, Jae-sung said. Marcus, you know the organization. Amina, you know how to find patterns. Between you, you should be able to identify our problem. Happy to collaborate, Marcus said. Likewise, Amina echoed. Good. Marcus, get her set up with access codes and clearances. Amina, you're still going with Daejung tonight, understood? They both nodded. Jae-sung left. The gym door clicked shut. Silence flooded the space like water filling a drowning room. Marcus turned to face her fully. The professional smile was gone. In its place, something harder. So, 4 years. 4 years. I thought you were dead. I thought you were too. Busan was complicated. Busan was a massacre. His jaw tightened. It was a mission that went sideways. These things happen. These things happen? We lost everyone, the entire team. And you vanished before the smoke cleared. I was extracted. Emergency protocols. You should have been too, but you went off grid. I went off grid because someone set us up. Someone fed bad intel. Someone wanted that team dead. And you think it was me? Was it? Marcus moved closer. Not threatening. Just closing distance. Making the conversation intimate. Dangerous. If I wanted you dead, Amina, you'd be dead. I wouldn't wait 4 years to finish the job. Unless you didn't know I survived until now. Fair point. He tilted his head. So, what's your play here? Revenge? Justice? Or are you actually trying to help Jae-sung? I'm trying to survive, same as always. By working for a Korean mafia boss. By staying alive long enough to get answers. Answers about what? About who really set us up in Busan. About why everyone died except you and me. About what the hell you're doing working for the same kind of criminals we used to hunt. Marcus's smile was sharp. I could ask you the same question. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has choices. Some are just worse than others. He pulled out a phone. I'll send you the access codes. security files, personnel records, everything you need to play detective. I'm not playing. No, Marcus said quietly. I don't think you are. Which makes this interesting, because either you're really here to help Jae-sung or you're here to finish old business. And I can't figure out which. Maybe it's both. Maybe. He moved toward the door, then paused. Word of advice. Jae-sung is smart. Smarter than anyone I've worked with, and I've worked with some brilliant bastards. He's watching you, testing you, and the moment he decides you're more threat than asset, you'll disappear so completely your ghost won't find the body. Thanks for the warning. Don't mention it. We're old friends after all. He left. The door closed. Amina stood alone in the gym, her heart hammering against her ribs like it wanted to escape. Marcus was alive. Marcus was here. Marcus knew she was alive. And now the real game began. She pulled out the tablet, opened Marcus's file again, read every word, every deployment, every commendation, looking for the crack, the flaw, the place where his story didn't quite match reality. Her phone buzzed. New message from unknown number. Tonight. Itaewon. Don't trust Dae-jung. He's not what he seems. Amina stared at the message, Marcus warning her about Dae-jung, or Marcus manipulating her, or Marcus playing a game so complex she couldn't see all the pieces yet. She deleted the message. Outside the gym window, Seoul sprawled beneath a gray sky. 8 million people, 8 million secrets. And somewhere in that concrete jungle, a traitor was watching, waiting, planning their next move. Amina checked her weapons. The knife she'd taken from the restaurant, cleaned and sharpened. The gun Minjun had left in her room, loaded and ready. Tonight, she'd go to Itaewon with Dae-jung. Tonight, she'd see how deep the betrayal ran. Tonight, the waitress would disappear completely, and the weapon would emerge. Itaewon at night was a different animal. Neon bled across wet pavement. Bass pounded from nightclubs packed with foreigners and Koreans hunting for something they couldn't name. The air smelled like grilled meat, expensive perfume, and desperation. Amina sat in the back of a black SUV, watching the crowds blur past, while Dae-jung drove with one hand on the wheel and rage simmering just beneath his skin. Boss says you're coming on collections, Dae-jung said without looking at her. I say you're a liability. Your opinion is noted. You think 12 seconds in a restaurant makes you one of us? You think that makes you family? I think it makes me alive. Which is more than those 5 men can say. His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. Respect is earned in this organization, not given because you got lucky one time. Then let me earn it. He laughed, sharp and bitter. You want to earn it? Fine. Tonight you watch. You learn. You keep your mouth shut. And maybe, if you're smart, you realize this world chews up people like you and spits them out in pieces. The SUV pulled to a stop outside a club called Venom. Purple lights. Line around the block. 2 bouncers built like tanks standing at the velvet rope. Dae-jung climbed out. Amina followed. The bouncers nodded. No words. Just recognition. They knew who Dae-jung was. Everyone in Itaewon knew. Inside, the club was a sensory assault. Strobe lights. Smoke machines. Bodies pressed together on the dance floor like sardines. The VIP section was separated by glass walls and armed men in expensive suits. Dae-jung moved through the crowd like a shark through shallow water. People parted. No one made eye contact. They climbed stairs to the 2nd level. Private rooms. A hallway that smelled like cigar smoke and old money. At the end, a door guarded by a man with a facial tattoo and dead eyes. Boss in? Dae-jung asked. The guard knocked twice. The door opened. They entered. The office was all black leather and chrome. Behind a desk made of glass and steel sat a man in his 50s, silver hair slicked back, wearing a suit that cost more than Amina had earned in a year of waiting tables. His eyes were the eyes of someone who'd bought and sold people so many times it had become routine. Dae-jung, the man said. His voice was smooth, oily, right on time. Mr. Lim, payment is due. Lim smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. About that. I've been thinking. Thinking is dangerous. The economy is bad. Tourism is down. My profits are down. And Han Jae-sung's protection fee stays the same. Doesn't seem fair, does it? Dae-jung's hand moved toward his jacket. Amina saw two guards shift in the shadows. Guns. Close quarters. Bad angles. If this went wrong, they'd both be dead before the first shot echoed. Mr. Lim, Dae-jung said carefully, we have an agreement. You pay for protection. We provide it. Simple. Mathematics. Mathematics change. Not in our world. Lim's smile widened. I've had offers from other organizations, better rates, more flexible terms. Maybe it's time I reconsidered my business relationships. The temperature in the room dropped. Amina watched the guards. Calculated distances, exit routes. The window behind Lim's desk, reinforced glass but breakable. The door behind them, one guard. The shadows, two more guns. 5 seconds to chaos if Dae-jung made the wrong move. You're making a mistake, Dae-jung said. Or I'm making a smart business decision. There's no business after betraying Han Jae-sung, just blood. Is that a threat? It's a prediction. Lim stood slowly. Get out of my club. Tell Jae-sung if he wants my money, he can come ask for it himself. I'm done negotiating with muscle. Dae-jung's face went dark. His hand moved inside his jacket. Amina stepped forward. Mr. Lim, she said quietly. Every eye turned to her. May I ask a question? Who the hell are you? New consultant? Risk assessment specialist. I don't care if you're the president of Korea. This conversation is over. Just one question. These other organizations offering better rates. Did they happen to contact you in the last week? Lim's expression flickered. Barely. But Amina saw it. What does that matter? He asked. It matters because someone is trying to destabilize Mr. Han's operations. The restaurant attack. The warehouse fire. And now his business partners suddenly renegotiating terms. She moved closer to the desk. Casual. Non-threatening. You're being used, Mr. Lim. Someone is setting you up as the next target. That's insane. Is it? When was the last time you refused to pay Han Jae-sung? Never. Exactly, because you're smart. You understand how this world works. So what changed? Who convinced you that breaking your agreement was suddenly a good idea? Silence. Lim's eyes darted to his guards, then back to Amina. A consultant. American. Said he represented a coalition. Bigger protection. Better terms. Said Jae-sung was vulnerable right now. Weak. When did this consultant visit you? 3 days ago. Before or after the warehouse fire? Lim went pale. Before. Amina smiled without humor. You're not being offered a better deal, Mr. Lim. You're being turned into a message. When you refuse to pay tonight, Mr. Han's enemies will know they've successfully driven a wedge. And when Mr. Han responds, which he will, they'll use your death as proof that he's losing control. Then more partners will break away. More territory will fracture. And eventually, someone takes his throne. You're lying. Am I? This American consultant. Did he give you a name? Lim hesitated. Chen. Marcus Chen. Amina's blood turned to ice, but her face stayed calm. Professional. Interesting. Thank you for your honesty. She turned to Dae-jung. We should go. Not without payment. We have something better than payment. We have information. Dae-jung stared at her like she'd grown a second head, but something in her eyes made him hold back. This isn't over, Lim. Get out before I have my men throw you out. They left. The hallway, the stairs, the club. the street. All the way to the SUV, Amina felt eyes on her back. Targeting, calculating, waiting for the right moment to fire. The SUV doors closed. Dae-jung turned to her. What the hell was that? That was us staying alive long enough to report back. You made us look weak. I made us look smart. There's a difference. She pulled out her phone. Typed fast. Marcus is making moves. Turning your partners against you. Setting up dominoes so when they fall, Jae-sung falls with them. You think Marcus is the traitor. I know he is. Because he used his real name with Lim? That's sloppy. Unless he wanted us to know. Amina looked at Dae-jung. Unless he's not just trying to destroy Jae-sung's organization, he's trying to destroy Jae-sung's trust. Make him paranoid. Make him question everyone around him until he's isolated and vulnerable. Dae-jung started the engine. Then we kill Marcus tonight. No. We confirm it first. One wrong accusation and Jae-sung loses faith in both of us. So what do? We go back. We tell him what we learned. And we set a trap. The drive back was silent. Seoul's lights blurred past. Amina's mind raced. Marcus was moving faster than she'd expected. Bolder. Either he was confident in his plan or he was desperate. Both options were dangerous. Her phone buzzed. Message from unknown number. You're getting close. Be careful. The closer you get, the more dangerous this becomes. M. She stared at the message. Marcus warning her again, playing both sides. Or legitimately trying to help while sabotaging Jae-sung. The game had too many layers, too many angles. She deleted the message. The penthouse was dark when they arrived. Only security lights. Only shadows. Dae-jung led her to Jae-sung's office. The door was cracked. Light spilled through. Voices inside. Arguing. They entered. Jae-sung stood at his desk, Marcus across from him, and between them, a woman Amina recognized from the files. Kim Soo-jin. Personal assistant. Early 30s. Beautiful in a cold, efficient way. Her eyes were red. Crying recently. Tell me again, Jae-sung said quietly. Too quietly. The kind of quiet that came before screaming. I didn't know, Soo-jin whispered. I swear I didn't know what he was using the information for. What information? Your schedule. Your meetings. He said he was coordinating security. I gave him access to your calendar. Jae-sung's hand slammed on the desk. Soo-jin flinched. Marcus didn't. Who? Jae-sung demanded. Who did you give access to? Soo-jin's eyes went to Marcus, then to the door, then to Amina. Park Min-ho, she said. The financial officer. He's been feeding information to a rival organization. He's the traitor. The room went silent. Amina studied everyone. Soo-jin's body language, terrified, genuine. Marcus's expression, concerned, supportive. Jae-sung's rage, barely contained, volcanic. Something was wrong. The pieces didn't fit. Min-ho was cautious, conservative. He wouldn't betray Jae-sung unless someone gave him no choice. Unless someone threatened him. Or offered him something he couldn't refuse. Where is Min-ho now? Jae-sung asked. He ran, Marcus said. 30 minutes ago, we tracked his car to Incheon port. He's trying to leave the country. Find him, bring him back alive. I want answers before he dies. Marcus nodded. Started to leave. Stopped. Boss, with respect, I should take a team. If Min-ho is working with someone, he might have backup. Take whoever you need. I'll take Amina. Fresh eyes. And if things go sideways, she's proved she can handle herself. Jae-sung looked at Amina. Go. Bring me my traitor. Amina nodded. But her instincts screamed. This was a setup. Marcus was moving her away from Jae-sung, isolating her. And Min-ho was either running or already dead, his body being positioned perfectly to take the fall. She followed Marcus out, down the elevator, into the garage, into a black sedan with tinted windows and engine modifications that made it purr like a predator. Marcus drove, fast, confident, through Seoul's midnight streets toward Incheon port. "You're quiet," he said. "I'm thinking." "About?" "About how convenient this is." Min-ho exposed. Soo-jin crying. "You playing the loyal soldier?" All the pieces falling into place exactly when we started looking. Marcus smiled. "You always were paranoid." "I'm alive because I'm paranoid." "Fair point." He took a corner fast. "You think I'm setting this up?" "I think you're 10 moves ahead of everyone in that penthouse, including me." "Then why come with me?" "Because if you're not the traitor, I need to know. And if you are, I need to stop you before more people die." Noble. Practical. The port appeared ahead. Shipping containers stacked like children's blocks. Cranes towering against the night sky. The smell of salt water and diesel. Marcus pulled into a warehouse district. Killed the lights. Parked between two containers where shadows swallowed the car whole. "He's in warehouse 7, Marcus said. "Trying to board a cargo ship. We have maybe 10 minutes before it leaves." They got out, drew weapons, moved through the container maze like ghosts. Warehouse 7 was ahead. Lights on. Door open. Too open. Too obvious. Amina grabbed Marcus's arm. "It's a trap." "Of course it is," Marcus said. "The question is, who's trapping whom?" He walked toward the warehouse. Amina followed. Every instinct screaming, every nerve firing. The moment they stepped through that door, everything would change. The warehouse was empty except for one thing. Min-ho, tied to a chair, beaten. Blood running from his nose and mouth. Alive. Barely. And behind him, standing in shadow, holding a gun to Min-ho's head, was someone Amina hadn't expected to see. Kim Soo-jin. "Hello, Marcus," Soo-jin said. "You're late." Like, subscribe, and turn on your notification. What happened in the next episode is mind-blowing. Thanks for sticking with us till the end of this episode.